was interesting what you were saying about the AIDS epidemic really struck a chord, because I remember being a little kid in the 80s in LA and not understanding what was going on. And like you said, hearing the way people would talk about people who were suffering, and that upset me, that we could criticize someone suffering. And I think that was the beginning of turning on the awareness of why that happens, and being a California kid, seeing what was happening to the environment, seeing how people didn't care about protecting our earth, which keeps us all healthy. All of those things lit me up. And the solution for me came from a light bulb moment that had to do with education. I grew up going to summer camp and learned how to be outspoken and climb rocks with the boys and do all the things that I had been told I maybe couldn't do because I was a woman. And I became a camp counselor at the place where I'd been a camper. And truthfully, being a camp counselor and looking at young girls, teaching them how to do things, hearing them say, well, I can't do that, and saying, who told you so? Yes, you can. And watching them leave empowered women who'd learned their own strength when maybe they'd come in doubting themselves, that made everything make sense to me. That if we educate girls, if we empower girls, if we say, yes, you can, instead of no, you can't, it all changes. And now as an adult, having worked in the education space for so long, traveled the developing world, built schools, much like you, I look at the disparity between women's ability to get an education and men's. And that has to change. That's how we change the world. And it's not just emotional, it's supported by all the data, all the financial information, all of the things that we need to say, this is an imperative now. And that's it for me, 62 million girls. That doesn't work. So something that I think is interesting, as you were mentioning, incremental change is what does it. And one of the favorite notes I got about a change I suggested to the amazing and motivated and incredibly just excited young people who follow the things I talk about on social media was from someone's mom. And I'll rewind a bit. When I turned 30, I watched all these women freaking out. Friends of mine, women I don't know, being like, oh, I'm 30, my life is over. And I thought, why? You're entering into what I hear is one of the best decades of your life. I feel smarter, more powerful, more true to myself. I've exercised my passion and I've learned how to trust myself. I'm confident. I want 30 to be amazing. So I decided to build a school in Guatemala for my 30th birthday, and I asked fans to do it with me. I said, listen, fine, I could do this and it could just be a personal thing, but if I motivate young people to take part in this, it'll also feel like their school. So I said, what if a school's gonna be $30,000, what if we could raise in $30 increments that money? How can you help with that? How can you do that? And I started trying to suggest tangible ways to do it, because not everybody wants to wait until they're the president or a CEO or successful enough that they think they can donate money, but $30 can make a difference. And I suggested all of these things, and one day I said, listen, for any of the kids out there who live at home, your parents probably, just like me, have a serious coffee habit. What if you offer to your parents that every morning you will make coffee, get up and hang out with them, get up 10 minutes earlier, and for every day you make coffee, they give you that $3, $4, $5 latte money they're not spending at Starbucks. Raise $25, that educates a kid for a year in the developing world. And a mom wrote to me and said, I've spent every morning for the last 2 weeks with my daughter. This has changed our communication. I gave her $25, build that school. And I was like, yeah, it's an important thing. You know, we care so much about the girls around the world who don't have education access because we know that they deserve equal rights. But we can't get there alone. We can't just be sitting here saying we need this. We need men like you and the men in this room and the men out there who are aware to say, my friend, my sister, my neighbor, my coworker, my mother, they deserve what I have. And I think that it's really important first to just say, your empathy is beautiful. The first thing first, listen. Listen to a woman you care about tell her story so that you can hear what it's like on our end, and then ask that person what it is they might need. For me, I would ask everyone in this room to get involved with the First Ladies Initiative. I would ask everyone in this room to look up the Girl Project. It's what I'm working on every day to make sure that out of 62 million girls who don't have education access, the 50 million who can't get to secondary school get it. You know, you referenced that GDPs go up in countries where women go to school, and for every year of education, a woman's earning power goes up 10%. Every year of secondary school education, it goes up 25%. Those women invest 90% of those earnings back into their families and their communities.